The sun blazed high above the royal grounds, casting long shadows over the perfectly manicured lawns and historic architecture. It was one of those grand events for which the British royal family is renowned, steeped in tradition, filled with pomp, and executed with precision. The rhythmic clatter of horse hoofs echoed through the procession as it moved toward the royal platform. Thousands of spectators had gathered, waving flags and craning their necks for a glimpse of the royal figure. Among them stood the 6-year-old Prince Louis, the youngest and often the most mischievous member of the royal family. Louis stood alongside his family, his curious eyes darting from one spectacle to another. In his small hands, he clutched a tiny bottle of water, seemingly more intrigued by its cap than by the grand ceremony unfolding before him. For a fleeting moment, he appeared to be just another child, impatient and oblivious to the weight of the occasion. But the ceremony was far from frivolous. Nearby, the royal guard stood clad in their iconic red uniforms and towering bearskin hats. Their faces were stern, their movements disciplined, despite the relentless morning heat which made their ceremonial attire appear unbearably heavy even to onlookers. From the crowd, murmurs of concern could be heard. "It's too hot for them," someone muttered. Yet for Louis, the solemnity of the moment remained a mystery. To him, the guards were living statues, silent, motionless, and almost otherworldly. He tugged at his mother's hand and whispered a question, bringing a faint smile to the Princess of Wales. Then, as if on cue, something began to change. One of the guards, positioned directly in the line of sight, started to sway. At first, the movement was so subtle that most people did not notice. But not Louis. His small brows furrowed, and he tilted his head, watching intently as the guard staggered once more, thighs time more noticeably. Time seemed to stretch endlessly in that instant. Then, the guard collapsed. A wave of gasps rippled through the assembled crowd. All eyes turned toward the fallen figure, and for a brief moment, even the royal family stood frozen. But not Louis. The young prince tightened his grip on his water bottle and took a small yet decisive step forward. Something inside him told him this was not a game. Prince Louis had realized that the royal guard had lost consciousness, and what he did next would send shivers down the spines of those watching. The sudden fall disrupted the carefully maintained rhythm of the event. A collective hush settled over the gathering, followed by murmurs of confusion and concern. For a moment, time itself seemed to pause. The tall, stoic figure of the guard now lay motionless on the ground, finally overcome by the sweltering heat. Eyes darted toward the royal family, awaiting a response. But no one could have predicted who would act first. Among the sea of distinguished figures, it was Prince Louis, at just 6 years old, who moved. He was supposed to be playful, a mischievous child known for drawing attention with his cheeky antics. But this was no laughing matter. His sharp gaze remained fixed, his fingers tightening around the water bottle in his hand. Without hesitation, he stepped closer to the edge of the platform. His face displayed concern and determination. The crowd watched in stunned silence, sensing what was about to happen. Even the royal aides appeared momentarily unsure should they intervene or allow the young prince to proceed. The royal guards, symbols of unwavering discipline, were expected to endure all conditions without faltering. But now, one of them lay helpless before the public eye. Louis did not wait for instructions. His small legs carried him down the steps with a confidence far beyond his years. The sun gleamed off his polished shoes as he approached the fallen guard, clutching the water bottle tightly. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. "Is he really going over there?" someone whispered. The royal family, still standing on the platform, exchanged glances. The Princess of Wales appeared ready to step in, but Prince William gently took her hand. His expression was unreadable, too, wanted to see what Louis would do. Reaching the guard, Louis knelt beside him. His miniature figure was dwarfed by the lifeless form of the soldier. He hesitated only for a moment before extending the water bottle, a simple yet profound gesture. It was an instinctive act of kindness from a child in the face of distress. The crowd erupted into applause. The admiration in their voices was unmistakable. Louis had not sought attention. He had simply wanted to help someone in need. And in that moment, he taught everyone present a lesson they would never forget. As the applause softened, Prince Louis remained beside the fallen guard, still clutching his water bottle. His tiny hands twisted the cap, his resolve evident despite his young age. The towering figure of the soldier lay still under the scorching sun. His voice was barely audible to those watching. "Here," Louis whispered, nudging the bottle toward him. The guard stirred slightly. His eyes fluttered open, meeting the gaze of the young prince. The sight was almost surreal, a small child kneeling before a soldier, defying centuries of formality with a simple act of kindness. Royal aides hurried forward, their polished shoes clicking against the stone path. Medical personnel followed closely behind, quickly assessing the guard's condition. But even as professionals took control of the situation, Louis did not immediately step away. "Step aside, Your Highness," one of the medics gently requested. But Louis hesitated, his wide eyes fixed on the guard, silently asking if he was okay. On the platform, the royal family watched closely. The Princess of Wales exchanged a look of pride and concern with Prince William. Even King Charles, usually composed, could not suppress a faint smile tugging at the corners of his lips. It was a rare, unguarded moment, completely unscripted and profoundly human. As the guard was helped into a seated position, he managed a weak smile. "Thank you," he murmured, his voice slightly stronger now. The crowd stirred again. Admiration rippled through the royal grounds. Louis seemed unbothered by the attention, stepping back and looking toward his mother, who opened her arms to him. He rushed into her embrace, his serious expression melting into the playful grin everyone knew so well. For those watching, this was more than just a sweet moment, it was a glimpse into the kind of person Louis might one day become. Thoughtful, brave, and unafraid to act when it truly mattered. As the royal guards and medics attended to the fallen soldier, the early shock among the spectators gradually faded. The guard, though visibly shaken, was conscious. He sipped from the bottle of water Louis had given him, the weight of the ceremonial uniform, and the heat having clearly taken their toll. But now, surrounded by care, he was beginning to recover. The royal family remained on the platform, their gazes still fixed on him. Meanwhile, Kate leaned down and whispered something in Louis's ear, perhaps words of praise. Though he occasionally glanced back at the guard to ensure he was all right, his attention soon shifted elsewhere. Medics gently lifted the soldier to his feet. Though his stance was unsteady, the water had provided relief. "Dehydration," one of the medics quietly confirmed to a royal aide, who nodded in understanding. A stretcher had been brought, but the guard, embodying the resilience of his duty, politely declined. Instead, he chose to sit on a nearby bench, gradually regaining his composure. As he sat, his gaze drifted back to the platform. Though silent, his expression conveyed immense gratitude, and the young prince responded with a small, shy wave. It was a quiet exchange that spoke volumes without words. The crowd, once breathless, now broke into thunderous applause. But this time, the applause was not just for the recovering guard. It was for Louis. The world had just witnessed a simple yet powerful act of kindness that transcended tradition and formality. Cameras captured the moment, and soon, images of the young prince offering water to the soldier spread across social media. "Did you see what he just did?" someone exclaimed in awe. "That boy didn't even hesitate." Though Louis was unaware of the profound impression he had left, those who had seen it would not forget. And in the midst of grand tradition, it was a child's small act of kindness that stood apart, etched into memory, whispered about in admiration, and preserved as a story of simple, human compassion.